Hello, welcome to my channel, The Jellyfish Journals. My name is Susie, and one of the things that I see a lot on, well, the Archer and Olive community Facebook group, I think that's what it's called, and other places also, is this fear of getting started, this fear of, I have this beautiful, nice new journal and I don't want to mess it up, so I'm just not going to touch it. I'm going to look at it. It's going to stay beautiful on my shelf, but it will serve no purpose other than being beautiful. Now, I will say there is nothing wrong with an empty journal on your shelf bringing beauty and joy into your life. But for those of you that do want to use your journal and you do want to kind of get over that hurdle, I thought I would show you what I do to get me started in the journal. I have posted about it before in this notebook, but I thought I would show kind of how I did it in this one, how I've done it in this one, and then do a plan with me or a decorate with me in my new journal that I'm about to move into. So I pretty much journal in an A5 journal. These are all Archer and Olive. This one I purchased last year when they did a re-release, maybe December-ish, November, I don't remember. They don't have this one anymore. Then I didn't have one to move into when I finished this one. So I went on eBay and I found this Archer and Olive journal on eBay to move into. And this one is almost finished, guys. This one, I'll check in a minute, but I'm pretty sure it's got 4 months worth in it. And I am about ready to move into this one at the beginning of September. This one, I feel like it is still on the Archer and Olive website. If it is, I'll link it down below. It might not be an A5 size. They might have other sizes, but I'll show you each of these in a little more detail in case you have debated buying an Archer and Olive journal. I am not an affiliate. Let me be very clear. I've never applied to be an ambassador, affiliate, or whatever. I just really love their journals. And so I think it's important to promote things that you love, to put those things out there. Speaking of, I'm going to promote all 4 of my kids and my husband because I love them too. You go, guys. You're awesome. So back in whenever I said, I'm going to move these guys out of the way. I don't remember even when I started this notebook. It looks like it was December-ish that I started this notebook. So I think this was my first spread, and it looks like it started December 1st-ish, December 2nd of 2024. And this one took me up until April, the end of April. So, okay, January, February, March, April, no, December, January, February, March, April. So I got 5 months in this notebook. I'm pretty sure they all have the same number of pages. I guess it just depends on how much I decorate or don't. And I wouldn't call this a planner or a journal. It's more like a smorgasbord for me. I just like to be creative. I like to decorate. I like to make things and do things. And so sometimes there'll be pages like this that are pretty much strictly just checklist pages with some artwork in the middle. Sometimes it's going to be something like this with a Dutch door that's just a thought I had in my head and I wanted to get it out in a creative way. Sometimes it'll be journaling. So this was something I did when I became a WASHI tape shop affiliate, and they sent me some freebies, and I cut these up to look like jigsaw puzzles. And since they're so large, I didn't have a lot of room to do much else. And so I decided I was gonna just journal there. And then I record my Garmin badges when I get them. Sometimes I will just take, there was one, some gel pens and doodle while I watch TV with my husband. That's one of my favorite things to do. And then sometimes, I'm trying to find a good example, like this one. Sometimes it is kind of, no, that looks more like a journal. Hold on. So like this one is more like a planner, except I don't usually write things down in advance. It's more like that day I will come and check in. Sometimes if I know I have a lot going on that week, I will make some checklists of things that have to be done, or like this was my anniversary. And so of course I already had planned to have that there. So that's why it only took me 5 months to fill this up. And you can see it's nice and chunky. It's nice and full. What I love about this notebook in particular, and I was dying for this one, I wanted this notebook so bad that when they re-released, it went on sale at 8 a.m. my time. And that's exactly when my class goes to specials. And so like art, music, PE, or STEM. The teacher next door, who is so sweet to me, she knew how much I wanted this journal. And I was really terrified it would sell out. And so she took my class to special for me so that I could sit in front of my computer in my classroom and click the button until I was able to purchase this notebook. So I love bees. I have a thing for bees. And growing up, I was called Susie Bee. And I just wanted the journal. So I know that sounds kind of rambly, but it's got this beautiful gold on the cover. The spine, I love a beautiful spine. And then it's embossed on the back. It is a little thick. It is a little bulgy. And you can see it's kind of like, I don't know, warped. Not warped, but just, I'm sure if I wanted to, I could flatten it a bit more. But all that to say, it served me well. Had those 5 months in it. My current one then started in May of this year. And I believe that is my first calendar spread was May. And like I said, I am almost done. I am near the end of August. I have a couple more spreads to decorate and a plan for my Garmin badges. And that will take me to the end of August, which means September is move-in for this one. So it's time to get this one prepped and set up. And that brings me, and I should talk about this one. Like I said, I think this is still on Archer and Olive's site. This one is, I think it's called the Pink Storybook Notebook A5 as well. But I love that this one, I'm not really much of a pink person, but this is just so pretty. I like the holographic or hologram coloring on it. The pages also have that. Although I think, no, this one had white pages. But the more like you fill it up, the more those get spread out. And so I'm probably going to lose that holographic look on the sides. But again, a beautiful spine and that embossed cover. And I just really love this storybook style. Mostly what I'm after in a journal is a really pretty spine. So most of my journals from Archer and Olive are purchases because of the spine. So these, I just love it. I don't know. So anyway, I just thought I would take a minute and show you how I start these journals because they are so beautiful. And I get the fear of not wanting to start and not wanting to mess it up. So pretty much the trick I have is whatever your cover looks like, use that as a launch pad of inspiration. Use that as a launch pad of inspiration to get those first few pages started. And so I'm going to start off with this first one, this bee journal. And I'm just going to show you what I mean. So when I got this one, obviously this beautiful golden bee on the front. Like I said, I used to be called Susie Bee when I was growing up. And so I decided to decorate it with bees. I went on Etsy and I found some really beautiful printables. I don't remember where these came from right now, but I will find it and link it down in the description box below because they are gorgeous. There's these envelopes, there's little elements or ephemera like this honey pot here. And I went ahead and put my nickname in this one because of the bee on the cover. Used some bee washi tape, some honeycomb washi tape, and just kept it simple. I love Archer and Olive, but I also don't love a business logo on my stuff, so I do cover the logo all the time. You'll see that over and over in my notebooks. But really all I did was just had a little fun getting started with the theme that connects to the cover of the book. So I've got lots of bees in here, lots of bee washi tape. I gave myself a little space for journaling. This is part of that ephemera kit as well. I used a honeycomb stencil and I drew this cutout, and behind it is another piece of ephemera from that kit. Put some gold washi around it, left myself some room to journal, and then I really just made sure that wherever that hole was or that cutout window, when it flipped over to the other side, I just made sure there was something beautiful on the other side. Some of the things on here, I believe this is Happy Planner stickers right here, but pretty much it's the ephemera kit and the washi that are holding down the fort here. I doodled a couple of little bees, but really, guys, that's it. Those first few pages are just the bees. Just a little check-in. This is where I am now in my life. This is how I feel about journaling still. I think it's kind of cool to update a little bit and make sure this is still something I'm truly doing and I don't feel obligated to do in any way. But as soon as those first intro pages are done, boom, I move right on to whatever else I want to do. Because I think just getting over that initial hurdle of the blank page is enough to help me relax and help me not worry about the rest of it. I just had a thought and I was gonna pull something out and now I can't remember. If I think of it in a second, I will grab it. I'm flipping back and forth because I thought I might remember. I do not remember what it was. But yeah, I think simple, easy, connected to the bee. For the next one, I went a little crazy with this one. This one was a little harder. I did not go on the Archer and Olive website and choose this. I kind of was in a situation at the time where I was like, I knew this journal was almost done. I needed another journal so that I would be ready to move in because I know myself. And if I go a few weeks without doing it, I will move on to a different craft, a different project, a different hobby. And I won't come back to something I know I love. That's just the way my ADHD brain works. So in order to keep this hobby going, I have to keep dabbling in it. So I had gone on eBay, found this one again. I wanted something that had a pretty spine. I will say this one, I don't feel like it's as good of a quality as this one. I don't know if you can tell, but this Archer and Olive has like that kind of fabric-y bound thing here. This one does not. Oops, I'm off camera. This one does not. They seem to have the same number of pages. Maybe this one has a few more. But overall, the cover is just, I don't know, it doesn't seem as sturdy to me. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but this spine is breaking a little bit, whereas this spine has stayed rigid and solid. But sometimes beggars can't be choosers. I did think this was beautiful, so I went ahead and ordered it. Now for this one, it was a little trickier. I did look through all my stickers and I struggled to find anything that would go with the cover. But again, I know that as soon as I get something in this book, I will feel better about it. Now, I love to doodle. I have a lot of markers. I have a lot of supplies. So I thought, let's put those to good use. So what I did, I'm going to kind of start here. What I did is I took this page here and I went ahead and tried my best to doodle similar flowers and patterns to what I saw on the cover. Now, my biggest regret is this is before I had my swatch book made, and when I checked this under a certain light, it looked very peach to me. When I went and I colored this whole page with it, it looked more pink. So I think maybe you can tell a little bit there. I'll see if I can hold it up. That probably doesn't help. But it definitely did not come off this orangey, peachy color that I was hoping for. I'm not going to let that bother me. I went through all my stickers and things. So what I did is I first colored both sides of this page. And I just had some fun doodling these little things. Again, a lot of times I just do this while I'm watching TV with my husband, watching a show, movie, something like that. Then I went ahead and I cut out some butterfly shapes out of this page. So it had that same little peekaboo effect that we had in this bee journal. Then I took those butterflies that I cut out and I glued them on the inside cover. This notebook is not quite as fancy as this one, so there doesn't have that beautiful fancy decoration on this page. So I was able to add a little bit more of my own decoration. So I took those butterflies that I cut out of the paper and I just kind of glued them around just so that it stayed cohesive. You see the same pattern here that you see here, and it just keeps it looking smoother. I found some stickers in different Happy Planner books that I thought went well together. These butterfly and insect stickers came from a Recollections book I got at Michael's. It is probably the best Michael's sticker book I've gotten, because if you're not sure what to add to a spread to make it finished, I say add some bugs. I just think adding some insects to a spread makes it really look different and fun. Again, I have a little bit of space where I journal on these 2 pages. Again, just this is where I'm at moving in. I think it's funny. This one says, I can't believe it only took me 5 months before I needed a new journal. I think I was truly surprised that I went through the other one so fast. I kept some of these stickers running through, again, for that cohesiveness, so that these pages feel like they go together. We've got a bunch more of those insects in the same colors. And then this is just some torn paper from my scrapbook stash and a little bit of grid washi. But again, it's not quite an exact match to this, but when you open this book and you get it started, you still have that vibe that you're a part of the cover. And then, like I said before, as soon as I finished those initial pages, I went ahead and jumped into May because this was going to kickstart this journal. This was the month that I was going to start with. One more, I did think of that tip that I was going to say a moment ago, and that is have yourself a little scratch notebook. If you have a notebook laying around that you don't love, you don't know what to do with, you're like, this is a new notebook, I don't want to throw it away, I don't want to waste it, use it as a, I don't know what I'm trying to call it, like a scratch notebook. So I'm going to show you what I mean. I have this lectern, I can never say this right, lectern 1917. I got this ages ago when I wanted to start bullet journaling, and I was very bummed because it does ghost. The pages ghost terribly. I can't stand ghosting. I was devastated because these are not cheap, as you know, and it broke my heart. But because I paid for it and I'd already written in it to find out it ghosted, I didn't feel like I could return it, and it sat around in my stash forever. Until I decided, you know what, this is going to be a scratch notebook. Granted, it is a little pricey. I wouldn't recommend buying this notebook for that purpose. But my point is, you may have a notebook laying around somewhere that was given to you as a gift that isn't really your style. Or you're like, I'm not going to use this because I prefer spines and this has a spiral, or I prefer spiral and it has a spine, or whatever. So what I've done with this one is this is now kind of like my scratch notebook. So what I'm going to show you is right here. This is where I started planning out those B pages. I put down some washi I thought might work. I put down where I would want to tear the paper, where I would want to cut out, where I would have my journaling space. Some of the things I put in here, I never did. I did some marker testing of colors I thought would work, which ephemera I wanted to put here, I labeled, and you can just see this is where I tested things out. I think I do a lot of my reading journal testing in here too, but just in case you are not a reading journal follower or subscriber, I don't want to worry about that. I don't know if I tested the other one out now that I think about it. I don't know if I tested this one out in here, but here's another example. I'll just show you. When I wanted to try out some things, I tested out in here, like this method of using Tombow markers on like plastic for that dot effect. Here's another good example. My May reading journal was Asian themed, Chinese themed, and so I just roughed out what am I going to do on each of those pages. And apparently those pens weren't working, and that turned into a scribble. But I highly recommend something like this. If you're really nervous to get started, especially with a cutout or something like that, I recommend some kind of scratch notebook that you're not worried about. Get out your thoughts, see if things look good together, and test it out. But now we are ready to start moving into this beauty. My plan for this notebook is the pink. This pink is so pretty. I want this pink to be the star of the show in those first few pages in my notebook. So stick around for a few minutes and let's see what I can pull together with this. And yeah, I can't wait to start setting up. Okay, so as I've said, this journal is absolutely beautiful, and I will come back to the name page soon. Now, I've never glued this page to the first dot grid page before because they've never had that bump I hear people talk about, but this page definitely did this time, or I should say this notebook. And so I did decide I was going to glue that name page down to that first dot grid page. Now, moving on to my cutout for this first few pages of my new notebook, I had already done a little bit of planning in that like rough sketch notebook I showed you earlier in the video. So I knew I wanted to do an arched window cutout. I don't know where I got this idea from. I know Jashi Corinne did some arched pages in her reading journal that I thought looked really pretty. I don't know why I decided to do a window other than windows lend themselves very well to cutouts. So I used that little fake potted plant that I keep on my desk to get the arch down. And I just used a ruler to kind of sketch out what the window panes would look like, or I guess the little framey parts of the window where the glass would be held. And now I'm just taking my X-Acto knife and very, very lightly cutting out those window glass pane pieces. And then I had this really brilliant slash psychotic idea to make the window this whitewashed wood. So it took forever. Not sure I would do this again, except I did do it on the back again. But I don't know if I'd go through all this trouble again unless the window frame pieces were a little thicker. I also do want to make note that doing this on the front and the back meant that I was continuously cutting the exact same places with that X-Acto knife. And so even though I was very gentle and very light, after cutting both the back and the front of these parts of the window, it did cut through in a couple of places, and I had to use more of that whitewood washi to kind of keep those pieces together. Next, I decided I was going to use that green and pink floral washi as kind of like wallpaper. The only way that white wood washi was going to pop and stand out was if there was something really colorful behind it. I knew I didn't want to use markers, so this worked out really well. And thankfully, once I got the lining up correctly, it actually was a continuous pattern. And so I went ahead and layered that across the entire page. If you're looking to use up a roll of washi, this is a great way to do that. It goes quickly. And then just trimmed out the window. And as I said, I did that on the front and the back, cutting out about an hour and a half of this video effectively. Then I glued down an image that I found on Google of a beautiful garden with pink. They look like hydrangeas to me. And now I'm just going to add a little bit of holographic paper to kind of go along with that holographic look on the cover and on the sides of the pages. And now it's time to add some stickers, which is always my very favorite part. So I'm going to pull out some of these metallic green leaves out of this sticker book. And really the idea is just to add a little bit of interest. I didn't want all the stickers to look exactly the same. And adding in some metallic stickers with some non-metallic stickers was just kind of a fun way to do that. I wanted the leaves to pop up over the holographic paper just a little bit. I should have thought it through a little better when I laid down the holographic paper, because as you saw when I flipped the window, it didn't quite come up above that bottom frame a little bit of the window. So by adding these leaves up a little bit, that will mean that, sorry, my necklace was starting to bother me. That will mean that whenever I am looking at either side of that window, whether the window is folded over to the left or to the right as it is now, this holographic paper and these leaves will show through or be apparent. Is that right? Is that what I'm trying to say? I don't know. You'll be able to see them. That's what I'm trying to say. So adding some of these beautiful flowers, they're not orchids. I can't think of what they are. They kind of remind me of hibiscus, but they're not hibiscus. They remind me of orchids, but I don't feel like they're orchids. So Adding some of those, I debated trimming the white background off of them, but in the end I decided I liked the white background. I thought it kind of helped the flowers stand out against that holographic background. And while that holographic paper is still visible, it's not quite as jarring as it was when I first laid it down and glued it on the page, because I'm not going to lie, I was a little bit nervous that I was not enjoying the direction that the spread was going. The top was looking a little bland for me, and like I said, I love stickers and playing with stickers. I have gotten over my fear of using my stash. I go crazy. If I want to put a sticker somewhere, I will put a sticker somewhere because I bought that sticker to be used. So that's what I'm going to do with it. And if I run out of stickers, then I guess I need to tap into my creativity and think of a different solution for a future spread. I also decided that adding a little bit more of that holographic paper across the top of the page would provide a little bit of balance and kind of, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I guess make the holographic look a little more intentional. I didn't want it to look like, oh, there's holographs on the cover, so I'm going to add a holograph in here. I wanted it to look like that was part of the plan. And so I just added the thinnest strip I could up at the top. The holographic paper is a little bit thick, so just be aware if you do decide to run to Michael's to grab it. It is a little bit thick. You'll also notice maybe a little bubbling on this name page. I did not do the best job gluing those first two pages together as I thought I did. So I'm just going to rub off some of that extra glue, and there's not much I can do about it now, so that's how it's going to be. I almost forgot to use these little birds that were kind of the first thing I thought of when I thought of adding a holographic look to this page. So I did go back into that sticker book and I pulled those out. And, I'm starting to realize these first few pages are really just creative. That's it. They're just quirky. They're just fun. And I don't know. I wish the birds did fly in different directions. I'll say that. I don't like that all the birds are going the same way, but I really like the birds and I wanted to use them. So there they are. I love the idea of gluing stickers, not gluing or sticking stickers, I guess, over the top of a printed image. But the birds, since they were on clear paper, the image showed through. So I did stick them on white paper, cut them out, and glue them down so that the holograph and the bird themselves would stand out. They're kind of a cream color, so they would have blended a bit. And then I'm just gonna, for the sake of continuity, I'm adding some more of those same leaf stickers. Again, no fear of using them all, because if I use them in this spread and they're beautiful in this spread, then they served their purpose, and I have no problem with that. I was trying to find a way to have this bird sort of peek through the window, and I was just struggling. I don't know why. I liked it a little lower, but not when the window wasn't over it. And so in the end, you're going to get a little bit of a bird butt when you turn the page. So that is fine with me, because when I look at it this way, I just love the way those two birds are spaced out. I did struggle a little bit too. These flowers, if you can tell, the petals all go different directions, and sometimes that's a pain in the patootie, as I tell my students. And so I had to be a little selective with which ones I was putting where. Now, I really wanted to use these stickers I got from Target. I tried to pull them off of that little cardboard paper behind it, and they would not come off. So I just decided to go ahead and keep that back paper on there. And I decided I wanted to spell out "what a beautiful life." And that word "beautiful" pokes through that line, that part of the window, kind of perfectly. But again, putting stickers over an image is kind of a fun way to collage something together. Now I needed a pink that would go with my theme so that I could have a little journal space like I like at the beginning. So that was my swatch book, which is one of my favorite things that I have created. And I just kind of use that swatch book as an easy reference for colors that I have in my stash. And so I pulled out this Crayola Super Tip in a color I called Carnation. They don't have names on them, so that's just the name I gave it. I'm looking at this now, the lines look a little crooked, but once I get my journal thoughts on there, I don't think it'll be so noticeable. All right, moving on to my name page. I don't know why, but I always do this page last. I also always cover whatever company logo. I just don't want to see that when I open my journal. As much as I love Archer and Olive, it's just not what I want to see. Oh, look, there's my nose, if you were wondering what my nose looks like. Then after I whited out a little bit of the company name, I put that little washi tape down there so that there is, again, some continuity between the window page and the name page. And I'm using that same carnation pink to write my name on there with some foligraphy. I don't have the patience for actual brushstroke lettering, so I just thicken my downstrokes, and that's worked really well for me for a long time. Back to those leafy stickers. Again, I can't say it enough. If you're looking to create a cohesive look, try to find ways to bring elements from different pages of your spreads into the other pages of your spreads. That I have found is the easiest way to make separate pages look like they belong together. As you're flipping through these first 3 pages, there's no question that they are one spread, even though they are across a few different pages. So now I'm just kind of adding some more of these little flowers, and I did use up quite a bit of them, and if I ever want to use them in another spread, I won't have as many to play with, but I know anytime I come back and look at the beginning of this pink notebook, I'm proud of what I did and it makes me smile. And so these stickers did their job and I'm happy with what I have created here. I did want that green one to go behind the flower a little bit, so that's why I pulled that one up there. And just a couple here on the front at the bottom are going to do the trick to add just something kind of pretty on that front page. Again, I had to be a little picky with where the petals were falling so that it looked right to me. I think that's just one of those subjective things where some of you might have done it very differently, just depending on it. What I'm doing right now is sometimes clear stickers leave a weird little textured look, and I found that the bottom of my X-Acto knife, it's not X-Acto, it's like a craft knife, but it has like a swivel head, but it's like rubbery on the bottom, and that has been working phenomenally. I'm wearing it down, but it's working really well to make those stickers flush with the page. I almost forgot to use this pink glitter washi that I had pulled out. It is the perfect shade of pink, and since I'm not planning to put anything over it, I don't have to worry about anything sticking to the glitter. And I also had some metallic green washi, and this is a little brighter than the leaves, but it just kind of gives a little bit of a fun look. And since that washi tape below my name has some darker greens in it, it kind of pulls that together. The last thing that I always love to do is to add some leaves to, or I said leaves because I put down a leaf, but I like to add a little element to the corner on this page, even though the holographic page is beautiful by itself. All right, so I closed it back up so you can get that full reveal, that full vibe of what it looks like when it's first opened. So if I go ahead and open up that first page, we've got that pink. Like I said, I wanted it to be the spotlight. The green, just for a little bit of color contrast. I don't want everything to be the same color. You can see that holographic look there on the page. Some of those flowers have carried over down here. And then I'm so excited. I love this, how this came out. I gave myself a little bit of room to journal again. We've got that holographic paper in the background with those flowers, which I really have no idea what kind of flowers they are. Those holographic birds flying across the top. And then you've got this beautiful window here, and you can kind of see some of what's behind it. So if I turn this over, it's the same on the front and the back, and partly that strengthens the page, like I said. And then you've got just something really pretty here. This page is just a Google printout. I put some of the birds on here. What a beautiful life. And then some of that washi tape down here just to connect to where the washi is on that first page as well. And that's going to do it. I've already marked the next page, says Sept for September. And so this is where I will start my September calendar so that I'm ready to start moving into this journal. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more content, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.